What are you doing? Hi, welcome to Part of My Frenchie. This is me, 143. If you don't have a friend, you have a few now. Well, I am on the couch with the girls. The girls are here and they are excited. Um, I I think it's because I have fuzzy things on my PJs today, so they're just gonna have to get used to it. Coco was sleeping on the couch, and then Rosie got up here, and she's just trying to. I know. Hello, say hello to everybody. So, anyways, but I welcome. Like I said, we are all here on the couch, and you can probably see this mess. This is what I deal with. Hello, moderator. Hello. The girls are already acting up. Hello, Dave. Dave and Violet are here. Welcome. Just another day in the neighborhood. They'll settle down here in a second. So it is PetLoss Tuesday. PetLoss Tuesday. If you are here and you have lost a pet this week, last week, years from now, this is, girls, it is not Frenchie Friday. This is not the fun day. This is PetLoss day. This is Frenchie Friday. Hey, Erin. Hello. Welcome. Yeah, the girls are excited. They think it's Frenchie Friday, and it's not. It is PetLoss. It is PetLoss day. We have to be serious today. Today is serious day, girls. Settle down. So, anyways, welcome. If you are new, welcome. Even if you're watching, what do you want to show me? What do you want to sit up here? What are you doing? Come here. You want to sit up here? Or are you just going to sit on your sister? Okay. Hey, hello. Yeah, so if you're here, throw your name in the chat, say hello. Everybody's welcome. And the only thing I ask on PetLoss Tuesday is that everybody is respectful with each other. We're going to get into some, a little deeper topics today. And, hopefully you will find a good community with others that have been in your shoes and walking in the same journey that you are. So the reason for this channel is to make sure that everybody has a safe space, but everybody also knows that pet loss and grief is a very, very lonely process. It is a very lonely process because only you know the relationship you have with your pet, and our pets are our identity. They're our 24/7. We take care of them. They're our world from sun up to sundown, right? Yes, they are, and we love them dearly. So, but when we lose them, nobody else knows the bond that we have with them. So that's why it's lonely. It feels very, very lonely. You're so pretty. It feels very, very lonely when you do have a loss. So again, if you're here, feel free to participate. You don't have to participate. That's fine too. Nice. Just like if you have a friend, you have one now. That's what the channel is. We're a community, and we're here to support one another while getting some healing. So anyways, it is a beautiful day in the neighborhood today. We had lower 80s, beautiful day. I had a day off of work, which was even wonderful. And so I got to spend the morning at the pool by myself. And that never happens. I never get a chance to go and relax at the pool. Unfortunately, my little partner in crime is still on vacation, which I'm very ecstatic for because he is having a great time every time I talk to him. So, I'm as much as I miss him, I'm glad that he's having moderators being silly. Yes, as much as I miss him, I'm glad that he's having a wonderful time. They're going on boats and in the ocean and seeing all sorts of wonderful things. He was very blessed to we have a wonderful family that lives around the corner from us, and they invited him on their family vacation. So that was very, very, very blessed on that. So so here's, it's funny when I was printing off, I had to get a new computer to do my stuff on. And the computer that I'm using is my son's because he doesn't really use it anymore. So I found this picture on his computer, and I always talk about the birds, but here's one of them. And this is like literally how like he'll play video games and they sit on his shoulder and oh, Patty's here. Welcome, Patty. Here's your grandson and a bird. So, but yeah, so he's got 2 parakeets in his room, and when he plays video games, they sit on him and you know, so they fly around. And like I said, the other day when I was cleaning out their cage, I always thought either they were 2 girls or 2 boys, but we had 8 there, which did not, there's no babies coming out of them because one broke and then the other one it was just a dead egg. So, but anyways, I was shocked that there was 2 eggs in there. A snail update. We keep getting eggs. And I know I say this every week, but I have got to figure out which 2 are mating up there. I know. I said the same thing. We got to find out which snails are mating up there because we're getting all sorts of eggs. So all sorts of eggs up there. And we've got I know, 1 trillion babies. I know. I've got to, I just have to like figure out a way to separate them so that we cannot have this many snails. That is just ludicrous. So, and not the singer. But if anybody knows him, send him to the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. I did see him in concert a couple of years ago, shockingly enough. So good concert, good show. But anyway, so there's the Brady update. His arm is doing much better. He's now wearing a brace for probably the end of this week, and then he'll be free. And hopefully his e-bike will be back from the shop. And here's Coco getting comfortable so she can enjoy the show as well. Rosie just ran off. But anyway, so, any other child updates? Well, yeah, right. He is the bird whisperer. Well, I was able to hang out at the moderator's apartment the other day, and I got to hang out with my grand dog for a while. And, Noir, where is she at? I was going to say, I've got, what did I do with her picture? Oh, it's here. Yeah. So the moderator's dog is right here, Noir, which is my grand dog. So, and if you're new here, that's my Lola, that's my Rosie, that's my Coco. When Michelle gets here, that's her Bubba, and then Dave and Patty's Violet. So these are, if you'd like your pet featured, send an email with your pet on there to moderator. Put the email address up there for me. But it's Pardon My Frenchie. This is me, 143@yahoo.com. So, anyways, but yes, here's all the famous dogs. So, but yeah, moving along. The again, the weather was great. I got a chance to sit by the pool and take all that in today, which was kind of nice. And just really, God, such a pretty day and relaxing. And I think I've been hitting, like, this is my 2nd time hitting the pool, and I was complaining because last year I didn't get a chance to go at all. And it's just, I don't know. I wish I had my own pool in my own yard. It'd make it a little bit easier. But so anyways, how's everybody doing out there? I've been, it is PetLoss Tuesday, and this is a little bit deeper day. I've been on Facebook, and I've seen that seems like there's just been a lot of losses this past week. And, you just, it's interesting because I go through, posts and so forth. And, Erin's got a wonderful Facebook page. It's called In the Quiet. So please go check that out. They have a wonderful community of people who, are grieving pet loss. And, he knows it firsthand. And, he lost his beautiful dog, Angel. And, he's done this wonderful tribute page to her. And then, which in turns helps other people, which is absolutely fabulous. He also has a book on Amazon, In the Quiet. So please go check that out. And, but going through posts and your heart just aches for people especially when they have that initial loss, right? And or the people that are going through their first loss, and you just see all these emotions through the post. And having been there, before, having the reason why I started this whole thing, you just you wish you could just respond to everybody, or give everybody a hug, because it's such, again, a lonely place, right? um, you are welcome. Well, you deserve it. You work very hard on that stuff, Aaron. But it's such a lonely place, right? And you just want to reach out to people and be like, yeah, you are not alone, and everything that you're feeling. It's almost like when I read them, I feel their pain through their posts, because it always takes you back to when you lost, right? And the initial shock, the initial, being scared, fear. You've got all different, stages of pet loss and grief. And sorry, I was wondering what they were doing over there. But you have all the initial stages of pet loss and grief that you go through. That a lot of these you've never gone through before, and your brain is trying to explain to your heart why your heart's hurting, and it's just a very weird, confusing time, especially if you start going through all the stages of grief quickly. And you feel, some people think, oh well, I've got through all the stages, now this must be it, right? I must be to the point where it's over. I'm done. And then a month down the line, boom, something will hit. And just like, and it's kind of starts all over. Or maybe you're during the stages of grief, and you bounce back from one to the other, and you're just like, what the hell's wrong with me? Why do I keep replaying things, and why I keep going back and forth, and it becomes confusing. And to be very honest, there's not a lot of help out there for people when they're going through this. And again, the way that society views pet loss and grief, it's, when are you getting back to work? And it's just a dog, or it's just a cat. And, what's wrong with you? And, again, you're in this, oh, yay, good. You are in like this cycle, and there's people around you that just don't get it. And they make you feel weird, and they make you feel funny. And then it's almost like a silent shame, right? A silent shame. And only people that are truly, or have truly loved an animal, or are truly honest with themselves, let's put it that way too, truly honest with themselves, understand. And your heart just bleeds for people. I mean, again, going through all this, and just, oh my gosh, just bleeds for people. So anyways, another thing is, I was going through some things today, and when I was sitting at the pool, this kind of came to me too, because I was looking at, again, going through these posts and seeing all these people that are grieving pretty hard. And I was like, what are some, realistic tools that people can use, right? And then, like, so the first one is like the transitional object reset. So a transitional object is something that connects your heart to your pet, like a collar, a toy, a blanket, a photo, and even ashes, right? So, something basically tangible that you connect with your pet and your heart, and taking that and resetting it. So example, today is the anniversary of when my Daisy passed in 2013. And So I brought her down with me today, and here I will pick this up. So I brought her down with me because again, they're always on my mantle in my thing. So I brought Daisy with me today. So here she is, and on her urn is always her collar, because when they leave, their collars always stay with them on top. And so her collar and her tags and stuff are still on there from when she passed 2013. Thank you. And also, so one of the transitional objects that also besides her collar on her urn is this picture. And this is my one absolute favorite picture. And in that picture is Daisy. And the baby in the white dress is the moderator. And the moderator was a baby. The moderator and Daisy were 6 months apart. And so they grew up together. And again, this is my absolute favorite picture of them. And she had, the moderator had this beautiful white dress on, and she just happened to be, hugging her dog at the front door. And so I always keep this all together. And, one of the things in, as a tool for pet loss and grief is, you have these things. And again, this is a beautiful memory, right? This is a beautiful memory that now every time I look at Daisy's urn, I don't think of Daisy as, being in here. I think of her like this, right? And it reminds me of all the good times and not the final chapter. And I think that's important. I think that's important for, let me put Daisy down over here. I think that's important, especially if there was a unique situation. And this happens a lot too, because again, when pets go, a lot of times it's not, first of all, it's like a horrible day, right? To begin with. But a lot of times, pets don't go, they don't go peacefully in the sense that, they don't just pass it home like my sweet pea did, God love her. But, many times we have to go to the vet, and, that's traumatic on us all with everything that you have to do with that. And, you're signing the papers, right? I think it's kind of funny. Like, I think, the times that I've had to go to the vet, that was probably like one of the hardest things was signing that damn paper, right? I know that is one of my favorite pictures too. I love that picture. I probably need to get that picture blown up. I love that picture. That's my absolute favorite picture. But I think, like I said, I think it's that one of the hardest things is signing that paper, and I think at that point it makes it real. It makes it real that, this is going to be it. And you wish somebody else could have made that decision for you. You wish that, again, they could pass in their sleep. And you wish that, again, you weren't the person that was, having to do that. So one of my biggest fears, to be very transparent, is, like when my Sammy passed, that was a very, very traumatic experience because he had a heart attack and just, like the sounds and visuals stuck with me for a long time. So one of my fears, anytime I, had to, take one of my pets for their final ride is it's weird. Like I would play this mental game with myself that I didn't want anything to stick out, or I didn't want anything like a bad situation to make that last trip be as bad as it was, right? And so, like, I told you the story with my Harley, and what they said to me, and that like tainted that experience. But when I was thinking back with Daisy, um, Daisy, I had gone to church, and she was in her dog bed, and when I came back, um, she, she couldn't get up. She couldn't get up, she couldn't walk, um, and I knew. And Daisy had like a form of like bladder cancer, and at the end, and so it, I knew with her it was like any time, right? And so when I came home from church and she couldn't even get up, um, I knew that was time. And so at the time, the co-producer had to lift her up and put her into the back of my car for me. And Daisy, fun fact about Daisy. Fun fact about Daisy. Daisy, Daisy was very particular on people she liked. So she could get a little bitey at times. Not with just random people or whatever, but at times she could be snappy or whatever. But anyway, so when I drove her to the vet, they came out and they put her on a stretcher for me because I couldn't carry her in. I mean, she was a large dog. But as I was signing the paperwork, they're like, okay, we'll bring you back to where she was at, because they were doing the, getting her IV set. And when I went back there, they had a muzzle on her face. And I lost it, is basically what I did, because honestly, the dog couldn't move. She was out, and they told me, they said, yeah, well, we're going to have to leave this on her. And I looked, I said, absolutely not. I said, my dog will not go out of this world with a muzzle on her face. She's not. None of my dogs leave this world without their collars on, because they're very attached to their collars. And like anytime I take them off, they freak out. But they don't leave this world with their collars off. That doesn't come off until afterwards. And but there was no way I was going to let her leave this world with a muzzle on her face. So the guy kind of gave me pushback, and I took it off of her, and I just placed my head on her head, and then they processed everything. But I was not going to allow that to happen. And it's, if there's any way that you could leave this world, I guess that was probably the best thing for her, is to, maybe that was a good situation for her, because she left this world with her mom's head next to her head, or on her head, basically, because my head was right laying on her head. And because I'm like, if this jerk is worried about her biting, which she's not going to fucking bite. But anyway, but I thought, what? That was supposed to happen, right? That was supposed to happen so that her and I could be as bonded as we would be as she left this world. And so a lot of times when after her passing, I would always think of that. I'd look at her urn, and I would think of that moment, like when she had that stupid muzzle on her face, right? And that's what I'm talking about. Like, it was one situation, but it was a situation that kind of like tarnished the whole thing, right? And I think it's one of those, like, I keep saying like, so sorry, but it's one of those situations where you have a big event. Not saying like euthanasia is a big event, but it is in the sense of it's the end of your journey in life. But you kind of want everything to be perfect. They tell you all, oh, this could happen and that can happen. And, I'll be very honest. I hold my breath every time. I hold my breath every time, because I don't want anything to tarnish that moment, because anything that's going to tarnish it is going to take away from or it's going to make me focus on that one thing instead of, what Daisy lived 14 years. I have 14 years of beautiful memories with that dog. And all after her passing, I could think was that little jerk that wanted her to leave this world with a muzzle on her face. And, that's one thing. My dogs aren't in cages and they don't have muzzles and things like that. We don't do that. We don't put our dogs in cages. So that's why it was very important to me. And that's why it was very important to me to put this picture here and, of course, her collar on top. Because now when I look at her, that's what I want to remember. That's what I want. I don't want that last memory to tarnish, 14 years of beautiful memories. And I think that that's important for people that are going through pet loss and grief. And even what I was seeing today, we get, I hate the word stuck. Stuck is stupid to me. And I know people feel like they're stuck, but we're really not. It's when people say they're stuck, what's happening is your brain is trying to it's pulling all these different things, but it's trying to find comparisons. And you're just overthinking, and you're trying to come out with a different outcome. And it just, again, the biggest part of your brain is that it tries to protect you. And so again, when your brain and your heart aren't connected, it's a conflict, and it'll keep replaying things. That's why it's important to reset. Get an object, get something that can reset any bad thing that you're thinking about and make it a positive, so that when you do look at that urn, if you do look at a picture, you're back to those memories instead of the last memory. Not to be a hypocrite or anything, but I mean, that's, again, that I had a very hard time. And I think too, it's the, also the way that things happen. He was, my Sammy, he had basically a heart attack, and that was horrible. That was absolutely horrible. And on top of the fact of, that was my first, my second, I would say. That was my second. My first was my cat Midnight, but Midnight lived to be 20 years old. I mean, she was at a very, very end point of her life. And, so she had lived this beautiful long life where his stuff snowballed. That was a lot of it. It took me off guard. He was fine one day. He had this episode where he fainted, and I took him to the vet, the emergency vet. And, I'm thinking, I couldn't imagine what it was, right? I didn't think it was anything serious, because the dog was happy. He was jumping around. Life was fine. And then when that technician came in and looked me dead in the eyeballs and said, well, you have two options. And I'm like, okay, what's the options, right? And he's like, you could either do the humane thing and put him down today, or you could try medicine and this and that. It might give him a week. It might give, and I'm sitting here in this emergency vet looking at this healthy dog, what I thought was healthy, because I didn't know what the hell was wrong with him. But I mean, he looked like he was healthy, and he's, being his goofy self. And this man just walks in here and tells me I need to do the humane thing and put him down. And I lost it. I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, he has what's called boxer cardiomyopathy. And, basically, when they get excited and so forth, it constricts the heart and can cause them to go in heart attack, and it's a heart disease. And I'm like, what? You I mean, I like literally, if somebody could have pulled the rug out from underneath me, um, that's how that felt. And I mean, I looked at him and I'm like, how in the hell? I'm like, this dog does not even look sick. I mean, he's not acting sick. He doesn't look sick. And he told me, he goes, well, with this disease, they don't even know they're sick. He's like, that's why he fainted, because his heart constricted too much because of the disease. He's like, but he doesn't even know he's sick. And I'm like, so you want me to put him down? And he's fine. To me, he was fine. And he's like, well, again, he's like, you could try medicine. He's like, it's really expensive. And, I'm like, well, well, yeah, he's like, but it could give you a week. It could give you, whatever. And then of course they give you all these strict guidelines and all that stuff. But, I think that that's why his death was a little harder, because from the minute that I took him into that emergency vet until, gosh, what was it? Maybe he lasted, well, maybe he lasted 2 months after that. But I mean, that whole time was like living in this in anxiety. I was running all over, and this one place where they had to like make his meds and stuff like that, and like out of powder. I mean, it was like a lab that they had to specially do one of the meds, and that one was really expensive. And then I had my little wonderful pharmacist over at Walgreens. He, he had seen me come through with all these prescriptions, because you treat this disease with human meds. And so when I came through, he just looked at me and he's like, Jen, he goes, this is going to be extremely expensive because he's a dog. And he goes, so let's make him a human. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you talk about, Nate? What are we doing here? And he goes, we're going to make him a human. And he got his own prescription card, and we made him a human. And thank God for Nate, because like his meds went from like $400 to $3 and maybe $10, and all because now he's a human. Which, how crazy is that? It's the same medicine, but because it would be used for a dog compared to a human, they wouldn't get the discounted prices. Now, granted, that was back in 2013. And I know that they've made changes to some of those systems now. Thank God. I'm assuming that a lot of people did the same thing that I did, was, just turning their animals into humans in order. I mean, just because, I mean, for the love of God, if you're going to fill that many prescriptions, you clearly love your animal. And, it just, and Lord knows how long he was going to be on those meds. Now, the one that I had to drive out where they had to do the compounds and so forth, good Lord. I mean, that one was pretty pricey. But again, I was able to get at least 2 more months before he passed. And, I had run into, one of my vets. I think it was like 6 months, a year later or whatever. And, she told me, she's like, hey, great news. She said they have been doing, some studies and this and that on a medication for boxer cardiomyopathy. And she's like, now it's like getting pets to live, years longer. And that made me so happy. Because even though it wasn't going to help me, because my Sammy was already gone, it made me so happy to think that other people that were in my position were going to get a longer lifetime with their pets. And, you have to, I always say that in difficult situations, there's always a positive somewhere. You just have to look for it. And a lot of times it doesn't come during when it happens or when the event happens, but often when you get a chance to sit back and reflect on things, you can always find a positive in a bad situation. And again, even though those meds weren't going to help my dog, it's going to help tons of other dogs. And then, years later when I got my Harley, he ended up with basically the same thing. And his, he was put on meds, and, I mean, I would say probably with the meds that he was on. Now, I will admit though, I think Harley was a little bit further along with his disease and so forth, but his meds, I mean, he made it a very decent amount of time, at least almost a year, I would say, almost a year. And yeah, that, you sit and say that's not a lot of time or whatever, but without him, I would have lost him sooner. And the good thing about him was the fact that he didn't have to go through having a full-blown heart attack and passing that way. He was able to peacefully go at the vet. And I will say, with regards to the heart attack, one thing I did learn about that, and I always advise people, when you do lose a pet, my biggest, and again, you have all your stages of grief, right? Well, one is, you're going to be questioning everything. Did I do this? Did I do that? Blah, blah, blah. After you have some time to kind of marinate on things, go talk to your vet. Ask your questions. Get all your questions out. Vets will be very transparent and will be very honest with you. Months after I lost Sammy, I went and talked to my vet, and I said, tell me the process. Tell me the process of, I was worried that he felt pain when he had his heart attack. And they said, nope. They said, what happens is that with that disease, what happens is that unfortunately it constricts the heart, and the it constricts the heart to the point where they pass out. And then when they pass out, the heart doesn't restart. And that's when you lose them. So what the vet told me was, so it's almost like they're passed out, and it's almost kind of like they go in their sleep. So he said, there's no pain in it. Basically, again, it's like they pass out and then they leave this world. And he said, there's absolutely no pain in it. That's kind of the, I don't want to say the blessing of the whole thing. But to me, it meant the world to me. It meant the world to me to get that information. And that's why I always encourage people to do the same thing. If you have any questions, or if you have something that's nagging on your mind, just ask. And be prepared. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't do it right after, but once you have maybe a month or whatever to marinate on it, go ask. And I guarantee you'll be surprised. Just like we have to, go to the vet for that last ride. That's honestly, it's basically the same way, right? I mean, they go in a twilight state, and then, and it's the second one that stops the heart. But there's no pain. It's like they just go to sleep. And to me, that's one of the beautiful things that we have, um, or that we can offer our pets when they're at the end of life, because we don't want them to suffer. We don't want them to suffer, and hell, we don't want to suffer, right? When we're at the end of our lives, we don't want to suffer. And I mean, I'm sure if you've been around a while, you've known relatives, friends, and so forth that maybe had fought cancer, have had maybe some other disease, maybe they were in an accident, and nobody wants to see their loved one go through that. And we don't have, well, I guess, well, I take that back. Now we do have that option. There are different places that you can choose to end your life medically. And I think Aaron, they have that in Canada, right? That's like big in, or not big in Canada, but I think that's a thing in Canada. That it's more accepted, like in different countries as well. And made the where people can decide to end their own life, like go into, like, I guess, I don't even know what you call it. What do you call it? Like if you're a human and you want to, terminate your life, you can go to places, or they'll do it medically. And like I said, some places here, I know, like I think California it's big, but I thought in Canada they did it as well. Oh, there. Well, yes, okay, medically assisted and diet. No, okay, yes, that's what it is. Yeah, I was like, maid, what is that? Okay, medically assisted and diet. Yes, okay, yeah. So is that big or is that? Yes, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, I thought Canada was a country that had that, or more socially acceptable there. I know we have different states that do it here, but I'll be honest, like, and I'm, it's just everybody's got their mixed views on it, right? So I mean, that's not up for debate. We're not debating on that kind of stuff tonight, but if you are going through something painful and you have the ability to, I guess, go to sleep, then so be it. So be it. Who's you know who's gives somebody else the right to tell you that. So, anyways, but so again, with regards to just taking bad situations and reframing it, or also, again, finding the good in it. Finding answers, finding something that's positive. That's it's so important, and it'll change the way that you grieve. It'll change your journey through your walk through grief. Um, so it's important. It's important. And I think a lot of it too is when you do have questions, or you do have things that are unanswered. It just stirs up so many weird things, right? So I don't know. You guys tell me. When you had a loss, was there a lot of questions? Did you question anything? Did you question what you did? You let me know, because I know that I certainly did. With almost all of them. So it's natural and it's normal. So hang on. But it's important also to know that it's just very, very normal. It's normal to question what's happening, because it's a huge rift in our life, and it's a huge, shift in our dynamic and how we live and how we identify. When you're a pet parent and now you're not a pet parent, that's huge huge identity shift, right? So another tool is the 60-second grounding breath. So because pet grief hits the nervous system hard, this will reset it. So there's different breathing techniques you can do to reset your nervous system. Like I said, the human body is an amazing thing. And the way that it takes care of us and takes care of ourselves when we're going through trauma, because it's trauma when we lose something so dear to us, right? So there's all sorts of different like breathing techniques you can do when, especially when you're in a situation that you have an emotional, like maybe you're at work, okay? Maybe you're at work and you have a memory hits you out of the blue. You're at work, maybe you're in the grocery store. Maybe you're just in a spot where you can't just break down and cry at the moment. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think that that's happened to us all, right? So you'll have a memory or something that hits you and you start tearing up. I mean, hell, I do it on here, right? When I tell about my stories, it gets you, right? Because all of a sudden it's important to talk about the ones you lost, because that's part of the healing process. And the more you talk about them and you tell their stories, the more you heal, and it keeps their spirit alive, because they're here with us forever, whether they're physically here or they're, up there in the skies, they're always with us. So you're going to have that, the memories hit and so forth. And when you get to the point where you're in somewhere where you can't break down, stop and breathe. Stop and breathe. Just take deep breaths. Close your eyes, tell yourself, I can't do this now, but I will save this for when I can at home. And make sure you process it when you get home, because it's not going to help bottling it up. Or if you have somebody close to you, talk to them. Tell them what's going on in your head. I always had this saying, or I always have this saying, I have marker on my hands. I always have this saying that whenever I have a bad memory, or not a bad memory, but whenever I have a triggering memory that hits me, I'll say, I just hurt my own feelings. And usually everybody around me is like, oh, okay, you had something that hit you. And, so just, oh, hang on. I'm going to get another guest. Hi, you coming up here? Come on. Come up. Come. Come on. Well, get over here. All right, let your sister up here. Let her join. Come on. Come. Patty says, oh, you expressed my number one question when I was told I was losing Pepper, was, will she suffer? So important, those words. She will go to sleep and not wake up. Yeah, 100%. I know, right? Here, come here, Cokie. No, Coco wants a Rosie's spot, and Rosie's gonna get mad at her. Stop. She sits here during this time. Yeah, and you're right. You're 100% right. Okay, just come on over. So you're 100% right. That's the biggest thing. It's because because we love them so much. Okay, what are you doing? Because we love them so much, we don't want to see them suffer. That's number one, right? We don't want to see them. You're just like all over the place. But yeah, we don't want to see them suffer. That's the last thing that we want. So hang on, I gotta rearrange here for a second. Whoops. Because go Northman's here. Hello. Oh, yep. You came in right when Coco's taking the stage here. Here, you sit on this side. All right, you sitting down? Okay. I know. You're a good girl. So hello. How's your mother? How's your mother doing? Is she doing well now? But sorry. Good. It makes me very happy. Makes me very, very happy. Let me, oh, I gotta move all this stuff over here. Coco's making me make a mess over here. Oh, hang on. But she can stay. She can stay. So good. Another tool that you can have is a memory ritual, like we do at the end of the show. She just knocked everything off my couch. You know, you're saying it's hot in the UK. Well, from what one thing that I've learned, I did not realize, because we've had FIFA over here for soccer. This is on a side note. We've had FIFA over here, like doing the soccer, and so we've had a lot of people from London and Europe and all over the place in the United States. And one thing I did not realize is there's not a lot of people with air conditioning over in Europe. You tell me, is that a big thing? Because like everybody has air conditioning here. No, you don't have air conditioning? Oh, you don't? Yeah. Oh, that's what people on TV were saying, and they were impressed that we have air conditioning. And oh my, really? Yeah. See, well, God love you. How hot is it there today? Yeah. That's gotta be. Well, I mean, I'm sure you're used to it after many years with it, but can you get like do they have like window unit air conditioners or anything like that? Well, or oh, well, I was gonna say it's supposed to be like I think 60s or whatever here tonight, but we had the same thing. It was very, very well. It wasn't very hot. It was it was mid 80s, so that wasn't too hot. But still, yeah, it's when you have no air, that is, yeah. But does it make it hotter with all the windows open? No. You know what though? That is one thing I love. I love having windows open. I love having doors open. Oh, Patty says that she saw in the news dangerous heat. Oh wow. Yeah, well, I guess you'd have to, right, to stay cool. But yeah, well, come over to the United States. We have air conditioning. You can come visit the air conditioning. So, oh, maybe. Yeah, I'd love to go see. They have a lot of beautiful things over there. So, but that's on the bucket list. That's definitely on the bucket list for sure. And what part of the UK do you live in again? And while you're answering that, what I had said kind of earlier too is the memory ritual when you lose a pet, like we do the candle lighting at the end, to honor our pets. And yeah, it's nice. Yeah, well, and like I said, I mean, we now I will say we grew up with no air for a while, and then we finally got central air. Oh, northeast of England. Okay, but yeah, it is. I was watching all these videos of people from Europe and other countries that they're over here for FIFA, the soccer event, and it's oh, Newcastle. That sounds pretty. I'll have to look that up, see where that's at. What do you mind sharing your first name? I feel bad calling you Northman all the time. But oh, Adam. Well, welcome, Adam. Good. Now I get to call you by your name. I feel bad calling you Northman all the time. But so I've been watching all these videos of the from Europe and so forth over here, and like just the things that we take for granted. To be very honest, and these videos are they're just interesting to me. Just I mean, people are going into Walmart and they're just like in awe of Walmart, and again, like all these places that are just you know, air conditioning. Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would think Patty says air conditioning used to be a luxury, um, but when you're yeah, well, yeah, it's definitely a necessity. Well, and it's a necessity with these dogs. These dogs overheat so easily. Speaking of which, the they have these like cooling mats. Um, oh yeah, well yeah. I mean, I was gonna say, and that's another thing that too that they brought up was that how like different, like how much hotter it is there than it is here, and we complain about the heat, um, and which we do. We complain about the heat all the time, but these dogs overheat so quickly. Um, so quickly, and even in a house with air conditioning they overheat. So I ordered these cooling blankets so that they can so I ordered these cooling blankets that you just put on the floor. You don't have to put them in the freezer or anything, and they will take the body heat off of them when they lay on them, because they said even if they lay on the floor, it doesn't cool them off. That's why they constantly move, because their bodies heat up so quickly, and with their little pushed in faces, they just can't breathe well in the heat. So I'm constantly watching these two. Now the good thing is Coco had that surgery that opens up her airways and so forth. Um, yes, yes, that is true. Um, always. So it's like you can't even like. I mean, here we don't have a lot of like blacktop roads, but even on the concrete, like I always look at it this way: if I wouldn't walk my bare feet on there, their feet have to hurt just the same way. So usually, if they're going for walks or anything, they have to be. It has to be either at night or because Coco will play her. When I walk Coco and Rosie together, they are on a leash that has two splits. So one is on one, one's on the other, but it's on one leash so that I can walk those two and then walk Lola in my other hand. And sometimes Rosie will run, which then pulls Coco, and then Coco gets mad and she falls over and she plays dead. So yeah, that's so if I take them for a walk, I usually have to bring the stroller, and they love sitting in the stroller, their little dog stroller for walks. So, and I got at auction I was just at, I got this little cart thing that I can hook up to my electric bike, and that will, you put the dogs in it. It's a little cart on the back, and it'll pull them so they can ride in this little cart thing while we bike ride. So I just have to put all that together. So, anyways, but we are at almost the hour mark. I'm gonna grab my candle here. Hang on, where is it at? Hang on. Oops. So they were. No, you know what? Not yet. I have to though. Yes. Coco did get an escape-proof harness, and but she hasn't worn it yet. We haven't really been on walks because it's been kind of hot, and I'm so leery of that, of the heat right now. But I will if I put her in, if we do that. But also, Rosie today got a chance to go through the Rosie's my car rider, so she went with us to Starbucks today, and they gave her a pup cup and everything else, and so she was all happy. Now Coco did not go, so she was upset. But anyways, before we light the candle, throw the name of any pet that you're missing. It doesn't have to be today, yesterday or whatever. Anyone that you're missing, we'll consider it a dedication wall. Just throw the names of them in there, and oh, Dottie. And I'm going to light the candle for all the ones that we love and miss. We'll throw this here. And I love this candle. There was a kid that I used to work with, and when my Harley died, he had got me this really pretty little PetLoss candle. So, moderator, can you put all our dogs in there? Aw, Dixie. Aw, I love that name. I love all these names. And Angel and Dottie. And we'll have, let's see here. Put my, oh, I can't type with one hand. That my Sammy, my Daisy, Cookie. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Christopher. Welcome. 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 Good. Moderator got them all for me. And then, no, I'm missing. I was gonna say, yeah. Oh, there. I was gonna say, Patty better be. You know, I'm glad you put in Buck and Niffer. I didn't know if the moderator would. Oh, I love those. They're wonderful names. I love names because you can just kind of picture the dog and their personality. Oh yeah, Jackie, Pepper, Ginger, Peanuts, and then yeah, Midnight. So if you stop by, if you know, if you haven't subscribed or anything, please subscribe. Oh, yep, Peabody, Thunder and Lightning. Yep, yeah, Mr. Peabody, Thunder and Lightning. Oh, and then Leo. You forgot Leo. Yeah, that was Cookie was. Where's she at? Cookie was my dachshund. Oh, where's she at here? Cookie was my dachshund. She was a dachshund, and then up here was her baby, Sweet Pea. So she had Sweet Pea, and then Cookie also had Ginger and Pepper that belonged to Dave and Patty. So yeah. So Cookie had 3 babies, and that's another story for another day. But that was a great labor. Oh, Cha-Cha. Good Lord, Patty. That was one where you were a kid, right? Cha-Cha? A little, what was it? Chihuahua. Little Chihuahua. I'll have to post that picture. I do have a picture of Patty when she was a little girl holding Cha-Cha with my grandmother. So anyways, but if you've stopped by tonight, thank you so much. Please, yeah, you have an amazing night too. I will see you. Hopefully I will see you on Friday, Friday for Frenchie Friday. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please be safe this week. I can't wait for Frenchie Friday. It'll be a little bit happier topics. So please, tell all your friends. If they don't have a friend, they have one now. This is a great community. And I appreciate each and every person that takes the time to tune into this. So even if you're watching now or you're watching afterwards, you're so much appreciated. Check out the Facebook page, Pardon My Frenchie. This is me, 143. Also have Instagram and X. Don't really do much on X, but Instagram. There's some TikToks as well. So check it all out and shoot me an email if you want your pet spotlighted on one of the shows. But again, appreciate each and every person. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful night. So thank you so much. Take care. See you Friday for Frenchie Friday. Bye.